markets for the punters as well.
Absolutely, I think that's why there's so much interest in this fight. One, because of
big favourite here in the graphic as well. We can see that while you're talking there.
Well,
Spence.
yeah. Well, listen, he's big favourite because he's the people's champion. People love Ricky Hatton. They've been watching the build up to the fight. They've seen what he's been looking like in the week coming up to it, emotionally, physically, and people are starting to really think that it's going to be the Ricky Hatton of old. Hence, why the money's going on him.
How tough for you though, a man that's been active, Senchenko. He's former champion until April, only one defeat. And I know it was a resounding one against Malignaggi, but still.
Why the punters should be getting an order in this fight, Ed, is because it's such a puzzle to solve, isn't it? What have both guys got left? We've got a guy here, Senchenko, who's manhandled by Malignaggi, who Spencer, I think even you'd agree, not exactly a physically strong guy.
No,
but this is only one loss on his record.
Cuffed him up, didn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it was Senchenko just looked disinterested in that fight. You know, he was going in there as WBA champion, undefeated, and I think that he took that too lightly. And if he did take it too lightly and did just think it was going to be a routine defence, then now he's fighting Ricky Hatton. He might have a little bit of that old fire back in his belly as well. So all these questions need to be answered. Hence why there's so much, much excitement surrounding this fight.
Hitman 32 knockouts from 47. Senchenko, I think, around the 66% mark as well in terms of knockout victories. Method of victory always fascinates the boxing punter, doesn't it?
Well, I agree, Ed. I mean, and the problem that people have got to solve here is that obviously what has Ricky Hatton got left? But this is a guy getting 3-1 essentially about a guy who's only lost one fight, albeit most of his fights have been in Donetsk. But I mean, just looking at this now, most popular market at the moment, you can imagine Ricky Hatton by TKO. I think most pundits, most experts expect him to stop Senchenko later.
Malignaggi stopping him.
That's right. And I think they're similar kind of. So 9-10, that's probably going to shorten up. A decision, would Ricky Hatton want to go the full distance? I think that would probably be a grueling one for him. But then you look at Senchenko, maybe by decision for him, 10-1, a big price about a guy, like I said, only one defeat.
Yeah, and a guy probably wouldn't mind going the distance, would he, with his jab and probably landing some points?
Listen, I think that from Ricky Hatton's point of view, I think that speaking to Bob Shannon, they're expecting it to go the distance. He told me that he's expecting Ricky to come through some sticky patches in the contest. He thinks he's going to take Ricky Hatton a few rounds to get the rust out and get the rust out from underneath his belt. Yeah. So, I think that they're expecting a long fight, and so if the stoppage does come, then great. But Senchenko is interesting. You said there was only stopped the once against Malignaggi. But that stoppage was via a terrible cut. Yeah. It wasn't like he was in any sort of trouble.
Couldn't see, could he? That's why the ref stopped
No, the eye was really badly swollen and a big split right under the right eye. So, you could say that he was really... He is unstoppable. Do you know what I mean?
Well, we'll have to stop you there, Spence. I think. Have a breather. We'll look at the Hatton round by round as well, because this is interesting. On the positive front for Britain, if you are backing Ricky Hatton, question mark, I suppose, of whether his timing is quite there. We know he's fit and that kind of stuff. We know he's been sparring, but do you go for the early round stoppage, or is he going to be more cautious?
That's right. Well, even in his prime, he was hardly a one-punch knockout specialist. I've traded and bet on most of Ricky Hatton's fights, and he tended to be an attritional wear-him-down type fighter with a fantastic left hook, obviously.
Volume rather than
volume and attrition has been, and even with Kostya, that basically sums it up the way he just wore the guy down, and that's why rounds 7, 8, and 9 have been the most popular. They're the three favourites at the moment. I don't think most of the punters will be coming with their
on round
on
4. You've been talking. Eamon McGee spoke to you round 4. You spoke to Bob Shannon. You said he's not going to steam in like a training and get picked off like he did against Manny Pacquiao.
He's going to take a few rounds to get going again. As I said, he's got a lot of ring rust there, so he's going to take him a few rounds. I think he's going to be a little bit cautious. He's going to keep his hands high, looking to roll, work the angles, and he's going to be looking to systematically bust Senchenko up. And I think that stoppage will come. If it is a stoppage, I think it will be in the later rounds. So, I think from round 7 onwards, that would be your betting money, really.
Look at the opposite end of the coin, the result that most people in Manchester won't want, of course, bar I think 1 Ukrainian and 3 of his entourage, is Senchenko, the round betting. And have to bear in mind, you then ask about Ricky and the manner in which his last fight ended has to play into this, perhaps, in people are looking to make a buck.
Well, the things that you associate with Ricky Hatton when you're betting on his fights are great work rate, great chin, and obviously a fantastic fitness, fantastic ability, left hook and whatever. And obviously that knockout has probably put these bets now in with some kind
of
opportunity.
Big right hand, Spence Senchenko. How you were talking to me off air about how damaging potentially that you don't know. Question marks after that kind of knockout he suffered against Pacquiao.
Nobody knows that. That's the acid test that comes on Saturday night. Nobody knows what sort of mark that has left on Ricky Hatton, because the last knockout, forget the Mayweather one. The Mayweather one was just a sort of a normal knockout, a knockout that we see week in and week out. But the one against Pacquiao was a chilling knockout, and you don't know what sort of effect that will have on you. And I mean, you won't know with Ricky sparring in the gym with the head guards on and the big gloves on. We're only going to find that out on Saturday night, and that's why this makes this fight so interesting.
Yeah, these all sporting bets odds, of course. Expecting a bit of an avalanche. Knockdown odds as well. It's interesting, isn't it? It's another market because there's so many you can get involved in. It all plays into the tactics as well, which is great about boxing betting.
I think there's a bet here, actually, Ed. I mean, I've had an argument with our odds compilers today. I think exactly one is the way to go.
Not a boxing match, was it?
No, I just feel as though Ricky Hatton will probably win the fight. He'll probably put Senchenko on the canvas. Probably most likely way Spencer's probably a left hook to the rib cage. That's the old Ricky Hatton way, isn't it? So even money, exactly one of the guys to be knocked down here. I think that's the way to go.
Saw Carl Froch stop Yusuf Mack at the weekend with a body shot as well.
Yeah, great body shot. I mean, Ricky Hatton probably throws the best body shot in British boxing.
I think Froch called it a Hatton special, didn't he?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, he's renowned for throwing that left hook to the body. That's what he's going to be looking for. Senchenko's style is made for him. He's tall, he's upright, 5'10", and Hatton's going to be looking for the body.
Well, both knocked down. If it's all action fight.
What a fight that'll be.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's a possibility as well. That really
just
is.
because of the ring rust. And,
yeah, absolutely. And like we said, Senchenko, 66% knockout ratio, so we know that he can hit a little bit. Ricky Hatton, you know, we don't know. He's not been in the ring for 3.5 years, so them shots he may feel a little bit more. So, I mean, that really is a good bet as well.
And the big sort of unknown for a boxing fan as well is Senchenko. Fought 3 times outside Ukraine, twice in Russia, once in Monaco 6 years ago. How does he respond to a packed MEM? Because he could either fold or he could suddenly produce a performance of his life, I guess.
Two ways to look at this, Ed, as a boxing punter. You look at it as one guy who's lost only one fight, most of his fights away from home, and that was in a world title fight. You get 3-1 about him against a guy who hasn't fought in 3.5 years. Fantastic value. Or is he going to cave in? I think the suspicion is with most of the early money is that Ricky Hatton will just have too much for him. The occasion will be too much. But, you know, let's not forget about this. There's so many doubts about it. It's a great betting fight. I think it'll all unfold very quickly. I think betting in play will be incredibly fascinating after a couple of rounds or so.
The factor as well of adrenaline, Spence, and you know more than anyone, the kind of draining effect it can have as well, and tiring for both fighters. For Senchenko, a new experience. For Ricky, an emotional experience. First time the MEM since Costa Zoo, 3.5 years out. Go the distance betting. I mean, this is interesting. What kind of stake could they both be in if it gets the distance?
And again, it's another possible one. This fight, it really is the unknown, isn't it? I mean, we're just making a case there for the knockdowns.
Where would you be? Because it looks you're getting just odds against on going the distance.
Close,
Listen, I think if I was betting on the fight, or when I bet on the fight, should I say, it's going to be I'm going for the late round stoppage for Ricky Hatton. Now half of that's with my head, but the other half's with my heart. Now this is where everybody's going to be betting. People are going to be betting with their heart because everybody loves Ricky Hatton. Everybody wants to see Ricky Hatton win, and they think he's going to win by a stoppage. But you know, will they be thinking with their heads or their hearts? A lot of them will be thinking with their hearts. I swear I'm going for the late stoppage.
Late stoppage. We should appreciate it or tell people as well. These are odds that are kind of as we're speaking, but it's going to fluctuate. You guys have to respond to the markets. You're expecting Ricky to shorten, really.
I think that punters will start getting stuck into Ricky Hatton. Actually, I think the furor, obviously the way that the media get behind him. He's such a popular fighter. I do feel as though he will stop this guy probably middle to late rounds, but it's hard to know what kind of conditions Senchenko comes in. It must be ordered because I think it's such a volatile and exciting kind of contest. And you've got to give credit to Ricky Hatton as well. He's not taking the easy way back here. This is a difficult fight.